welcome to this week's episode of Staying Sane with Jay and Hussein. I'm Jay, and my partner in crime, Hussein.
Yes.
So let's jump in. So, as we mentioned in our last one, we were switching formats a little bit. Instead of reporting the news, we're going to be talking in more depth on one or two subjects. So, this
Mm.
week we've got a couple of stories from India. So, Hussein, take it away.
Yeah, we have two news items from India. One is regarding the banning of cow slaughter, selling the cow meat in a state called Assam in India. So that was recently being enacted by as a law, um, and there were a lot of debates going over that. So if you look at the way how this cow slaughter and the issues surrounding that is being brought about in the Indian context, you can see a lot of things going in and out. Some things are even missed at this point. So usually when you mention the word cow, the first party that might come to your mind could be the BJP, the ruling BJP government, and all the blame for the cow slaughter ban and all the things surrounding that are mostly attributed to this party alone. That's what is the usual way of doing things. So today, when we speak about this, I just wanted to make a point that cow as an animal, it's not just an animal which we see as a source of meat or as a source of milk in the usual context. But for Indians, for the Hindu population mostly, and mostly in the North Indian religious considerations, we see that as a part of their belief. So they have a cow god concept, something related to the divinity, and a sanctity is given to the cow.
But
So
this is unique to that one region, or this is across Hinduism across the country? Or this
it
this
is
one region
supposed to
is
be,
a little more radical in their devotion.
yeah, yeah, it is supposed to be to the whole of India, but unfortunately, it's not like no. Sorry, fortunately, it's not like that, because as you might have understood, Hinduism is a religion without a monolithic interpretation. It has a lot of versions. It has a lot of interpretations all over the country. So if you go from north to south or west to east, you will find variations. And even with the subject of the cow slaughter, you can find that. So, for example, if you come to the state where I'm living, that is Kerala, that's the southernmost state of India. Here, cow slaughter is not at all a problem. You can even find Hindus eating cow. Literally, they eat here. Even BJP is not opposed to any sort of cow slaughter in our, in any way of objecting cow slaughter here in Kerala. They don't even
So,
mention about that.
is there something unique to Kerala? I mean, I think Kerala, from what I remember in the
It's
past, it's a very
yeah.
highly educated population, much more like a highly educated, higher GDP. So, is that playing a role in why it's
No,
less extremism
I
there? Or?
no, I won't say that why the cow is not getting slaughtered in Kerala is because of the literacy rate. No, I don't say that because it's mostly about the geographical variations, the countrywide variations of belief systems. So that's one reason that I would say. And it's not just in Kerala. You have another states in India where cow slaughter was not a problem, or is still not a problem. So if you go to some parts of even some states within the state, you will find places where you will get slaughtered cow or this meat of beef. So that's how it goes on. So in Tamil Nadu, you will find that some places. But when you go to another state, yeah.
But do
So
you have an understanding or explanation of why certain states accept it and certain ones don't? Like, is there any sort of commonality, or
one
it's just yeah?
Yeah, one thing that I would say is obviously the banning of the cow slaughter, the by rule. If some states they have come up with this banning, and who started banning or who started taking this issue of cow into the politics is not the BJP in the first place. That's one thing that we have to understand. That's mostly you can see that that was enacted first by the Congress, or the supposed to be the left party or the leftist side of the political spectrum. So BJP is considered to be the right wing. So these are the people who belong to the left who initially started off with banning of cow slaughter in India. So we even have a provision in the Constitution of India under the directive principles where you can even have this cow slaughter ban in place as per the state's policy. You can have that. That's the constitutional uh, uh, area where, or the constitutional mentioning where the states can do that. So if a state does that, you cannot say that it is unconstitutional. It's even mentioned in it.
Oh, you're freezing up a little bit. So, but see, I don't know if it's my end or your end or both, because I'm showing a low signal on my side, but you were freezing up a little bit too. But your audio your audio was still mostly audible, but it was a little bit
Hmm.
your video was cutting out.
Okay.
So okay,
Yeah.
all right, it's interesting. And then the other story in India was about a Muslim couple that was apparently chased out of a
Mm.
Hindu neighborhood. But
Yes.
apparently, according to the BBC article, there were other Muslim families already living in that neighborhood.
Mm.
So what was so unusual about this one family that got chased? I think it was a doctor, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Even if you are a doctor, you are not insulated from such things which can happen in India. So that's one example where you might have find such kind of an instance where a person is denied of a property just because he belongs to a particular community. So uh, if you need a correct understanding of this, you will have to go back to the days of partition of India and Pakistan. So India is a country where it has seen a lot of atrocities and a lot of communal rights just for the reason that you belong to a particular community and you were quarreling each other. So one community accuses the another one. So this was always been here, and the partition of India is a culmination of all such rights and all such exhortations and all such arguments for a separate nation for the Muslims, which was initiated by the Muslim side, the Muslim League, and finally they were successful in getting partitioned into a state called Pakistan, and initially into two pieces like east and west of Pakistan, and now Pakistan or the Bangladesh uh, gave out from the Pakistan. That's the West Pakistan. So that's how it all went. So what was the reason behind? There was always a problem of identity politics playing in India, in the subcontinent. So that was always there. So even today, there is a problem which you can see something related to the acceptance of religious multiculturalism or religious diversity. And when you speak on that, some communities or especially the Muslim community, it always or it mostly fails in accepting this pluralism and in accepting this multicultural existence, the coexistence. And this is not just in India. You can see all over the world where you always hear about the word called as ghettoization or the no-go zones, which is getting created in other parts of the country, especially in Europe. We mentioned about that. Recently, we had a news which is coming from Australia, where there are places called no-go zones where Muslims live in majority, and even the police, they are not able to go inside the places and they to do some investigations or something like that. So this is always a problem.
what's stopping the police? They have the authority. Like,
They have the authority, but mostly it just initiates a what do you say, a cascading event of rioting and these kind of violence which can go out of hand, and it can
yeah,
even
but
go to any extent.
isn't that just enabling these Muslim extremists to think they can get away with this kind of behavior if the
Yeah.
police are going to be hands off? So
Yes.
that's the wrong tactic. They need to show a firm hand.
Yes, that's obviously what we expect these police to do, and that's why we always hear about another word, that is the two-tier policing. So there is also an existence of that kind of a policing where a blind eye is kept for these kind of activities, which is being indirectly supported, which gives them more power, or which gives them a sense of they being observed as a something different, or some more powerful group, where uh, they are just left loose to do whatever things that they can do. And it's even seen in some other countries, like in the UK and in some other places of Europe, where you can always see these kind of actions. So France is well known for this kind of ghettoization. Then we have in Belgium, you talk about this, and even in UK, we are mostly hearing some news about that. So this ghettoization is a problem. Even in India, we have this. And when you speak about India, this this problem, that is ghettoization, is very minimal in the place where I live, that is the state of Kerala. But now we are speaking of this problem getting a root in even in my state, and there are a lot of debates going over. So we usually see some news advertisements where it is already mentioned that the plot is for sale only for Muslims. This is the kind of advertisements that you might find in this place. So when a news come out, when a news is there, and where a Hindu is denying something to a Muslim, it's always news. Nobody talks about the reasons. Nobody talks about the situations. Nobody talks about the real issue. And the real issue, what is that? Issue number one, the denial of multiculturalism, the denial of integration, the proclamation of exclusivity of religious identity, the proclamation of preserving religious identity. And it's not just limited to these locations, or buying a home or buying a meat or something. It even goes on to the constitution or to the application of the law, where these people always ask for special treatment, special rules. So when you talk about the Uniform Civil Code, which is still not something that is established in our country, the one main group or the one main religion who is opposing this Uniform Civil Code is the Muslims. So this is the problem. So Uniform Civil Code means what? It's a common code, and we have almost 95% of the civil codes unified for all the groups of people, all the communities, irrespective of their religion and all such things. But certain things are there: the rights of marriage, divorce, then adoption, maintenance, the property rights, and all these main 4 or 5 things. When it comes to these, the special marriage, the religious rules are applied. And when it comes to the Muslims, it's causing even more problem, where for example, the property rights, if you take it, the right of a woman to inherit the property will be half of what a man can inherit. So this is what is mentioned in Islam. And in a modern country, the rule, what it states is that the right should be equal for man and woman, irrespective of their gender. But here what happens is that it is being denied, and it is causing even more problems. And who is opposing this? So this is the way. It's not just something that is related to a property or something that is related to any specific instances. It's a wide problem. It's just a tip of the iceberg. The bigger problem of lack of integration and lack of acceptance of multiculturalism, and even adherence to equality and modern principles. So this is always there, and it dates back to the days of partition and the stories and all other things. And there's a dangerous sense of fear among the community, where if a few Muslims come in group and buy some properties altogether, it is giving a sense of fear to other people. This is what is happening here. And literally, I'm not saying that this is something okay, or which is something which we can accept. No, I'm not saying this, because this is something which we have to address. For this, we need to educate the Muslims. And I think on one part, if we do a proper education or a proper awareness creation among the Muslims, that is to uphold the values of coexistence, uphold the values of integration and multiculturalism, nobody will deny you a property. But this is not happening here. It's everything is taken for granted, and they are as if they exist as if they don't have any responsibility to keep the peace, keep the or the to make the peace and coexistence alive. That's not happening here. So I think this is a chance for them to learn, to realize the problem, the real reasons to. Yeah.
Right? Interesting.
Okay.
So shall we move on to the situation in Syria?
Hmm.
So the people who have been following the news will know that Assad, the brutal dictator, has fled to Russia, who had been backing him, and apparently the refugees, the revolutionaries who overthrew him, previously were much more Islamic in nature, but the current leader seems to be distancing himself quite a bit from
Do you
his
buy that?
past. He's been calling for calm. You
Okay.
know, the people seem to be happy to have the freedom of that Assad is gone. Now, whether he's going to usher in an Islamic caliphate remains to
Mm,
be seen. You know, he's
mm,
apparently, like the U.S. Secretary of State has been negotiating with him, or in talks with him and his council.
mm.
He appear from the sound bites that I've seen, he appears to be genuine. You know,
Okay.
he's called on the population to be calm. It looks like they don't want corruption. They want to have elections, and they want to have a free and open democratic society. So he's making the right noises. Whether he
Mm.
means it, you know, we're going to have to wait and see. So
Yeah.
what do you think? Are you hopeful?
Um, Me being personally a bloody optimist, I'm hopeful, but with a pinch of salt. That's what I would say, because um, the core principle on which they are trying to build this new nation, and by which they are trying to end the corruption and to make the country prosperous, is something which is on Islamic principles, which is a failed model everywhere. You don't find a country which has prospered by using the principles of Islam. This is the main problem. So if you look at how ISIS came into power, or Taliban came to power in Afghanistan back in 2021, these were the same statements that they were also making, that we are now distancing ourselves from the extremist ideas. We'll be giving more freedom to the women. We won't oppress them. All these things were even mentioned by Taliban. And going back to how ISIS came, you might have heard about how they were trying to give an option to the people of Iraq that they will be saving the people from the oppressive regimes and to end the corruption and all such things. But now we know how ISIS went, then how Taliban is now performing. You know that how it is going on. So there's no, the precedents are something which is always negative, and is eroding the hope even if it is present. So for that reason, still I'm hopeful, but there's a lot of hope for seeing all these things getting eroded because of their past models and their past attachments. So that's how I would take it. Yeah.
That's and we see in a lot of countries where there's been a lot of dysfunction, and they don't have safeguards and checks and balances in place, that you see that a strong man comes in and, you know,
Mm.
tends to consolidate power, and become an autocrat, and, you know, become thoroughly corrupt. Um, you know, Singapore is a good example where Lee Kuan Yew, you know, he saw that for
Yeah,
Singapore to succeed, Singapore needed to be corruption free. You know, and they needed to have good government, and good systems in place.
I
So
agree. Yeah.
maybe this guy in Syria will take a page from what Singapore did. That, you know,
Mm,
if you put good systems in place to fight the corruption, uh,
mm,
you can develop, you know, a really strong economy. So
mm. I
so
agree to that. But the main difference in opinion is about On what grounds they are trying to do this? Singapore, they try to end the corruption and all such things, not by basing its rule on any Sharia or anything like that. They were focusing on, even if it was an autocracy or some kind of undemocratic way of ruling, even then, it was not based on any Sharia or some failed models like communism. It was something other than that. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the reason why there was a chance, or there is a chance for survival or for betterment. But here, what we are seeing is that they are basing their rule and their principles on Sharia, on Islamic rules. And you have any model in this world where they have applied it perfectly in a successful manner? That's the problem.
Mm.
Yeah, even if you go back to how Saudi is doing or even the UAE is doing, they are not following Sharia with regards to all these things.
Yeah. And you've got MBS in Saudi Arabia trying to modernize and
Yeah,
open Saudi Arabia up. So Syria is
it's
going
not.
to need Syria is going to
Yeah,
need some serious support from its regional partners. So
yeah,
maybe Saudi can have some impact here and say, hey, let's tone down the
could
fundamentalism,
be.
because it
Yeah,
doesn't work. So
that could be an
we'll see.
option because the HTS is something related to the Sunnis. Saudi is Sunni,
Yeah.
and they might have a bridging of ideas and the new or the improved way of thinking and to
Oh,
come with, yeah, come
hopefully
with peaceful
saner
solutions. Yeah,
hopefully the saner heads will prevail and say, look, these fundamentalist countries are all failed states. If we
yeah,
have any chance of success, we need an open and free democracy, a free press. We need institutions where people are held accountable to fight the corruption, pay them well. So we'll see. Let's
yeah.
let's hope
We'll see.
they take a page from the right precedents and not the wrong ones. So
Great.
okay.
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. Let's
Uh,
hope for the best.
Yeah. Okay. So
Great.
I guess that's it
Bye.
for our topics from this week. So thanks everybody for
Yeah.
watching. We hope you enjoyed the
Yes.
discussion. We'll see
Yeah.
everybody next week. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. You too. Bye.